The text message glowed on my phone screen like a blade in the dark. My friends and I are using your lake house this Sunday. Don't be weird jealous. My thumb froze over the reply button. The words slicing through the quiet hum of the late-night kitchen. Sarah's message wasn't just a casual heads-up. It was a taunt, a splinter under my skin. The air felt thick, the refrigerator's drone suddenly deafening. I stared at the words, my pulse hammering in my temples. Each syllable dripping with a smugness I'd never heard from her before. My wife of 7 years, the woman who'd once cried in my arms over a miscarried dream, was telling me not to be jealous about her weekend plans at my family's lake house. The audacity burned. I set the phone down on the counter, the granite cold against my knuckles. The house was silent except for the faint creak of floorboards settling upstairs, where Sarah slept, or pretended to. My mind churned, replaying the last few months. Her late-night work calls, the perfume she'd started wearing that I didn't recognize, the way her laughter had turned sharp, almost performative, when we were with friends. I'd brushed it off, chalked it up to stress from her promotion, to the grind of our 30s pulling us in different directions. But this message? It wasn't a crack in the facade, it was the whole damn wall crumbling. I poured a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid catching the dim light above the sink. The burn in my throat didn't dull the ache in my chest. I wanted to storm upstairs, shake her awake, demand answers. Who are these friends? Why the lake house? Why now? But something heavier held me back, fear maybe of what she'd say. Or worse, what she wouldn't. I sank into a chair, the leather creaking under my weight, and stared out the window at the moonless night. The darkness felt like a mirror, reflecting the void opening inside me. By morning, Sarah was all smiles, stirring cream into her coffee as if nothing had changed. "You're up early," she said, her voice light, her hazel eyes flicking over me like I was a stranger. "Big plans today?" I gripped my mug, the ceramic warm against my palms. "Just work," I lied, studying her. Her hair was pulled back, a few strands loose around her face, and she wore the silk blouse I'd bought her last Christmas. She looked beautiful, untouchable. "You didn't mention the lake house last night," I said, keeping my tone even, though my heart thudded. "Who's going?" She didn't flinch, just stirred her coffee, the spoon clinking softly. "Oh, just some girls from work. You know, Lisa, Jen, maybe Claire. We need a break." Her smile was too perfect, like a rehearsed line. "You don't mind, do you?" The question hung in the air, a challenge. I forced a nod, my jaw tight. Sounds fun. But my mind was already racing, piecing together fragments. Lisa, who'd always been too friendly at company parties. Jen, who Sarah barely mentioned anymore. Claire, who didn't even exist as far as I knew. The lie was so casual, it stung worse than the truth might have. That day I couldn't focus. My office, usually a refuge with its tidy desk and city view, felt claustrophobic. I opened my laptop, my fingers hesitating before typing her name into a search. Nothing unusual, her LinkedIn, a few old photos from our trips. Then I checked her work calendar, synced to our shared account. Blank for Sunday. No meetings, no girls' trip, nothing. My stomach twisted. I told myself it was an oversight, a glitch. But doubt gnawed at me, relentless. By Friday, the unease had festered into something darker. I found myself checking her phone while she showered, the steam seeping under the bathroom door like a warning. Her messages with Lisa were mundane, work gossip, lunch plans. But there was a new contact, Mark Work, with no last name. The thread was short, cryptic. "Sunday's set. Can't wait." Her reply, "Me neither. Don't tell anyone." My hands shook as I set the phone down, the words branding themselves into my brain. Mark. The name didn't ring a bell, but it didn't need to. It was enough to shatter the fragile trust I'd been clinging to. I didn't confront her. Instead, I drove to the lake house Saturday night, the 2-hour trip a blur of headlights and rage. The cabin sat on the edge of a glassy lake, its wooden siding silvered by moonlight. My family had owned it for decades, a place of bonfires and lazy summers. Now it felt like enemy territory. I parked a mile away, hidden by pines, and waited. The air was crisp, heavy with the scent of damp earth and cedar. Every rustle in the woods set my nerves on edge, my imagination conjuring Sarah's laughter, someone else's hands on her. Sunday morning, a black SUV pulled up. Sarah stepped out, her hair catching the sunlight, followed by a man I didn't recognize. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a confidence that made my fists clench. Not Lisa. Not Jen. Definitely not Claire. They carried bags inside, their voices muffled but intimate, like they'd done this before. I crept closer, the grass damp under my boots, my breath shallow. Through the window I saw them. Sarah's hand on his arm, his head tilted toward her, too close. The world tilted, my chest tight with a mix of fury and grief. I could have burst in, screamed, thrown punches. But I didn't. I watched, frozen, as they laughed over wine, their shadows merging on the wall. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a text from Sarah. Miss you. Work's crazy, but I'll be home soon. The lie was a gut punch, worse than the sight of them together. I drove home, the road blurring through tears I hadn't realized I'd shed. Back in our kitchen, I waited. When Sarah walked in Monday morning, her face flushed with a glow I hadn't seen in years, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just set my phone on the counter, her text to Mark open on the screen. Her eyes widened, then hardened. You spied on me? She spat, her voice sharp with defiance. Who's Mark? I asked, my voice low, trembling with the weight of everything I'd lost. She didn't answer, just grabbed her keys and left. The door slammed, the sound echoing in the empty house. I sat there, staring at the lake house key on the counter, its edges worn from years of use. I'd trusted her with it, with everything. Now it was just a relic of a life that no longer existed. But as I sat there, a new thought sparked, cold and sharp. The lake house had a security camera I'd installed last summer. I hadn't checked it yet. My hands shook as I opened the app, the footage loading slowly. There they were, Sarah and Mark, not just laughing but planning. Her voice clear through the tinny audio. He'll never know. We can keep this going. The betrayal wasn't just an affair. It was a future they were building behind my back. And then the final blow, Mark's voice smug and certain saying, once we sell the lake house, we're set. My vision blurred, not with tears, but with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. Sarah thought she'd played me, but she didn't know I'd already changed the locks. On the lake house, on our accounts, on everything. She'd betrayed me, but I wasn't the fool she thought. The game wasn't over yet.